Okay, very good morning. Yeah. Yeah, Muhammad, where is it? Datuk Sri Panglima Dr. Japri Ketingan, Tan Sri, Datuk, ladies and gentlemen, as mentioned here just now, these slides or this paper is prepared by me and Dr. Abdurrahman Dean. Stand up, Abdurrahman Dean. We were colleagues for 5 years until today, still working together. If you look at these two, the famous Nelson Mandela, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to destroy or to change the world, to destroy or to change the world. Then recently, former President of Mauritius, destroying education means destroying a country. A small country in Africa is a Muslim, actually the majority are non-Muslims. Next, please. But it cannot be just about education. It is the quality of education that matters. So do we have the quality? This one, just similarities between the two states. So let us begin with a review of our performances in SPM last year and the year before last. If you look at this, I think we should be celebrating today. Datuk Jesse was my classmate for 7 years. During that time, I did not see any one of us got 5 A's or 2 A's. Now you have 2023, 11,713. Straight A's mean 8 A's. What about the 5 A's, the 6 A's, and the 7 A's? No. This is A mean mathematics, additional math, English, and all this. It's not agama. Straight A's. Sarawak, you look at, we should be celebrating. Why should we worry? That is quite stupid. Next, you look, even Sabah also is doing well. So the question is that, why should we worry? Katut, my colleague before, why should we worry? During our times, I don't think we have 3 A's, 4 A's, as Datuk Jesse. He's one of the top in the class. I didn't think he got 3 A's. But here we have so many A's. Okay, next. The number of candidates, like Sabah, you don't need to worry. 484 last year, getting straight A's. Straight A's mean 8 A's. It's not 5 A's. 8 A's, that's straight A's. Because but some are getting 9 A's. Some are getting 10 A's. 11 A's. And I think maximum is 12 A's. If you think of the Great Purata National, 5, 4, actually we are getting B. Very good, B. Katut, B. So why should we worry? Okay, next. Malaysia, Sabah, Sarawak results are getting better and better and better every year. Better and better and better every year. So it looks there's nothing to worry. I think Professor Tajuddin here, is it? Where? Yes, you have been worried all the time. Because I read all the time. So we should not be worried. Okay, next. Yes, that's the big but. See, the reality is that parents are worried, stakeholders are worried, people like Professor Tajuddin is also worried. So all of us are worried. So definitely there is this is they call narrative. Actually, it's an organization. The Citizens Agenda 2022 survey for Malaysia identified a decline in the quality of Malaysian education as one of the top 5 concerns of Malaysians. Next. So even the cat worried. So we in Sarawak, in Sabah, are also very, very worried. You look the picture. Even all, all men are so worried. Okay, next. So, okay, this is for the next one, never mind. This one doesn't matter. So our worry stems from the inability of our students to score straight A's or even 9 A's, 10 A's, 11 A's in the SPM, but can't compete with their peers from Singapore, Hong Kong, China, Taiwan, Vietnam, and our neighbor Brunei. Okay, next. So this is the difference between SPM results and the actual quality could be attributed to those who are in education, assessment methods. There are two. These are the two types of assessment that can be adopted by any educational institution throughout the world. They are equally good. They call it the norm reference assessment, and the other one is called the criterion reference assessment. Actually, I don't need to explain, but you try to get this one quite important. You see the first one, the norm reference test compare a student performance against the performance of those or their peers. Whereas the other one, you don't need compare. You fix what is A, what is B, what is C. Don't change. Okay, look next. See, this is the criterion reference assessment. This is a type of evaluation that measures student performance against a set of predetermined criteria. Standards, it focuses on what students know and cannot do without any reference to the performances of their peers. Scores are typically based on the extent to which students demonstrate mastery of the criteria. Students are judged against absolute standard rather than compared to that of their peers. That is example. This is Cambridge. I take this one from my own grandson. A plus correspond to 90 and above. A correspond to 80 to 89. And up to D correspond to 50, 59. No change. So if you are the examiners, mark, you follow exactly like this. Correct, Katut? No. Don't change. That is it. This is the difference. Norm reference assessment. It compares the performance of his or her peers to that of his or her peers. So rather than absolute like the criterion. This is good actually, because you know where you stand. But the problem is that I think they lower the standard, because this follows the bell curve, the percentile. So when majority are poor, okay, you lower. So Professor Tajuddin, because I read your comments, So this may be the reason that the majority are not doing well. So in order to get A, 60 maybe A. Like last year or the year before last, I was told privately, that the passing mark for additional maths was only 9. The passing mark for English was also 9. So this is what is happening. You read this one, that is the norm reference assessment. And Malaysian, I confirm. I rang up the former director of examination board. He happened to be the person I pushed him when he was with me in Tabakang. You go and tighten your belt, go and do your degree. So he went, he really tightened his belt, did his degree, and he went as far as the deputy director of education. So alhamdulillah, syukur. So you read this one, so it can be, this is the reason. We are using non-reference assessment. It can be very good because many countries are doing that. But you should not lower it to 9 marks or 20 marks or 30 marks. So the A can be 60 marks. The B can be 30 marks. So I think that, but I'm not accusing anybody. Please, newspaper, don't say that I accuse the education department. But this can be the possibility. Okay, next. SPM assessment likely to be this, but it's not likely, it's really using the norm. So this is nothing wrong because any institution can use that. Nothing wrong, provided you don't lower, because it's a bell curve. Those of you who are doing statistics, those of you who do this psychology, you know that is a bell curve. So the norm is set too low. If it's too low, that is what is happening. Okay, next. Fine performance in SPM does not hide the fact that the quality of our education has really dropped significantly. This ongoing decline in the quality of Malaysian's education system has been highlighted by many interested groups, including Professor Tajuddin. So you see, the former Vice Chancellor of University Kebangsaan, Malaysia, has questioned the 2022 SPM examination results just released. Actual quality of the national education system does not reflect the actual. Next, please. Even the Prime Minister made a comment. He is also worried. That is the Prime Minister's comment. This is PISA. Every year, this program called PISA, that is Program PI, International Secondary School Assessment. Every year is conducted throughout the world. Sometimes 70 over countries, 30 over countries, or 80 over countries. So Malaysian has gone down. But you don't have to worry. This is not the end of the world. Because Singapore, probably Shanghai, Taiwan, and all these are among the top. All these years, they are always at top. US probably about 28, 29. Israel, 2015. There were 72 countries taking part in PISA. Israel got number 40. But Israel is the number one for startup. Israel is number one for creativity. Israel is number one for innovation. So this one we can forget about it. Sleep well. Okay, next. So this is World Bank. Bending bamboo shoot, strengthening foundation skill. The report here. Malaysian students spend an average of 12.5 years in school, but only learn the equivalent of 8.9 years. So this, we have to worry. So tonight, probably you don't have to sleep. Okay, next. So what can be done to stem the ongoing decline and improve our education system? Here, Dr. Amar Manyin and I, we are not going to reinvent the wheel. We just try to follow countries which are doing very, very well. Last year, I presented a paper on the high-performing education system in the world. So I picked Singapore, Finland, Canada, Australia, and Shanghai. So we just don't reinvent the wheel. We just follow Singapore model. Singapore is focusing on these two things: quality of teachers and the quality of teaching. You cannot have a quality of teaching if you don't have quality of teachers. The rest are not really that important. So this is what we are going to do. We are not saying that our performances are poor. We are just trying to improve or enhance it, assuming that it's already very good. We celebrated just now. Did we? So now we just enhance. I think in the past, so if we want to enhance this, to ensure that the teachers in Sabah and Sarawak, first is academically qualified, competent, passionate, dedicated, and make the recruitment more and more vigorous. So here is what we are thinking of: get the best results through interviews, through psychometric personality test, and make sure that if you go to Singapore, they ask them to teach for 6 months as contract teachers before they go for Bachelor of Education. And during that 6 months, they are assessed by the principal or qualified experienced teachers. If they don't get good results, they cannot proceed. This one, we have gone to Singapore. We have discussion with the Academy of Principals in Singapore. This is a Singapore model, just for you to see. Okay, the next. This is a report. 93% of those applying for a Bachelor of Education and 70% those offered a place in the program did not have the necessary qualification. Only 3% were considered to be high performers. This is not from us. This is the broken chalk report from the United Nations. That is Malaysian broken chalk report. So what we are thinking is that to do this, psychometric test, I don't need to read. Those of you who did psychology, you should have this. Next, personality test. So personality test, we put 2. Next one, come on. So this is the 5 big traits of personality. The OCEAN is the acronym. That is openness. Next one is C, conscientiousness. Next one, extraversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. These are the one. These again, the Meyer-Briggs type indicators. So all these are details. We don't need to look at because these are all prepared by experts. None of us, I think, is qualified to prepare this. They are prepared by experts, and the answers are also prepared by experts. Personally, I have gone this one through the lab when I did my postgrad in the lab. But these are, you don't have to worry, it's all done by experts. Here at the moment, all teachers offered by universities, you need to have all those just now, but in the case of ours, IPG, there are altogether about 27 IPGs in the whole country. Sarawak has 5, I don't know how many Sabah, IPGs, training teachers for primary schools. All the IPGs, they have to go through psychometric test, personality test, and also the interviews, but not the universities. Some of the private universities even take people lower than 3 CGPA. So this is the problem. So all our students who are in the school now are facing with some of those are not qualified teachers. This is Singapore model again. You can have a look at it. Next, please. This is done in Singapore, and we recommend that it should be done in Malaysia or Sarawak, not Malaysia, Sarawak and Sabah. That beginning teachers must go for induction course for 2 years. In Singapore, 2 years. And in addition, they have all these mentoring, collaborations, and at the end, there is a symposium. These are all for the beginning teachers. And those, what we recommend, all these beginning teachers should have less workload so that the mentors can actually prepare for them and become good teachers. I was a minister before. I mentioned about the bots, the algorithms, and the big data, and the AI. So with these rapid changes in technology and also economic environment, teachers need to update themselves, the knowledge and skill regularly. So we must have in-service courses, in-service training. I started the Ministry of Education in Sarawak. And I found out that a lot of our teachers, they reported on the first day and they retired after 40 years in service. They never had any course, especially the primary school. So I called IAB director. I told him we have 1,248 primary schools. And many, almost all of them, the headmasters, have not attended any courses. Can you help us? Do you have the ability? You have the capacity? They said, yes, but we don't have the vitamin M. So lucky enough, as Datuk Jesse said, Sarawak is quite loaded with money. So I approached YAB, CM at the time. So he told me, Michael, no problem. You just proceed. So we spent, I don't know how many millions to train or to give services to our in-service courses to our headmasters. So this is really required. 50 hours a year, but none is done in Sarawak. So how do you expect our teachers to lead our students. That's why more and more students are leaving the normal school. In Sarawak, we started the international school. And you can imagine, when we started the international school using English, I was demonized, practically demonized. I got letters telling me, you are stupid. You are going to make a fool of yourself. It's going to be doomed to failure. You are spending taxpayers' money. But we explained to YB. YB said, forget about all this. And we proceeded. So Sarawak is the only one having international school, 6 of them later on. And the medium of instruction is English. But Sarawak have been using English. You know, under the IGC report, it is stated there, but Sabah, you have agreed. I explained to Tan Sri Benedok last night. Under the IGC report, the Federation cannot touch on the issue of English for Sabah and Sarawak until the 2 states agrees. But unfortunately or fortunately, Sabah has agreed. They have passed that in, Roger? They passed that in the one, but Sarawak until today has not passed it. So that's why Sarawak use English as a second official language, and we can actually use English. And now we are using English to teach maths and science up to primary 5. Primary 5, because I started it about 5 years ago. So we go up to Form 6 to teach maths and science. And actually we can challenge the federal government in court. But I told the SAG at that time, no, I don't want to go to court. Because if we win, we only win the battle, but we lose the war. But it's possible. Jesse, where is Jesse now? So next, please. So these are what we suggested. It should be, Singapore is giving 300 scholarships every year. And they can pick any universities, the Ivy Leagues and all this. So these are incentives. So if we can do the same thing, Sabah and Sarawak, the political leaders pay more attention to the teachers, give them a lot of this, I think a lot of our first graders will become teachers. Next. So our best student and their parents, this is reality. Our best student and the parents, you ask in your kampong, you ask in your districts. Most of them will say, no, I want my son, I want my daughter to be a lawyer, to be a doctor, to be an accountant, to be an engineer, but never said, I want them to be teachers. I spent time in Finland. We have a discussion with the professors in Finland. If the children cannot become teachers, then they think of become lawyers, doctors, and so on. So that's why Finland is probably the only country in the world. If you go on migrate day, they ask you, where do you want to send your children? The answer is the school next to your home. That's the answer. Because there is no such thing as A school better than B. The whole Finland has 3 times the size of Sarawak, and 5 million population. and when them to be teachers. I spent time in Finland. We have a discussion with the professors in Finland. If the children cannot become teachers, then they think of become lawyers, doctors, and so on. So that's why Finland is probably the only country in the world. If you go on migrate day, they ask you, where do you want to send your children? The answer is the school next to your home. That's the answer. Because there is no such thing as A school better than B. The whole Finland. Finland has 3 times the size of Sarawak, only 5 million population. And when I went there, they also purposely show in the book. 1973, Finland was at par with Malaysia. So what happened, Professor? At par with Malaysia, 1973. But now they are the top of the world. So these are the things that make our teachers. Katut, I was a teacher. Our status in the public is very, very low. Very, very low. Probably even a clerk in the DO's office has better status than the teacher status. I was running College Abdillah. College Abdillah is selected school. Only those who have 5 A's go there. But they never look at who is the principal. They look at who is the clerk, and that is higher. So you look at this. This is happening in Sarawak and probably in Sabah. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we are the victims of the unlevel playing field. Correct? The playing field in the rural areas is totally different from the playing field in the town. That's why sometimes I boasted to my children, if only the playing field, if I were to be like you, I think Daddy will be better than Barack Obama. So the playing field in the rural areas is totally different. So as a result, many are not willing to become teachers. The opportunity cost there. You know, we teachers, we don't go there alone. Katut? We go there with our families, with our children. So we make a lot of sacrifices because they cannot attend the best schools. Secondly, we stay in dilapidated quarters. And on top of that, we lose our entitlement, housing entitlement. So how bad are we being victimized? So all these are people shy away from teaching. So hopefully we are recommending that for rural schools, all the rural schools, hopefully Sabah support me, introduce called positive discrimination. You look at the next one. Positive discrimination. How many are doctors here? Doctors. I think doctors do practice positive discrimination. If they look at the patient and he or she is coming from poor family, I think the doctors charge them lower. If you look at, Professor, you put your professor there. Must be very high, charge you higher. That is positive discrimination. So here we practice positive discrimination. Rural schools, give them better facilities, give them better teachers, give them more allocations. And that was done in Finland. Positive discrimination. And that need, my friend sitting next to me just now, you speak in parliament, introduce positive discrimination in rural schools in Sarawak and Sabah. That means more money pumped into the rural schools. Better teachers to be pumped there for Sarawak and Sabah. I think this is a must, but it needs a political will. Not like what I agreed with Jesse just now. Don't negotiate, demand. This is our right. So that we play on the same level field. Okay, next. This one we can follow. In Singapore, if a teacher is rated A, he's given about 3 point something months bonus. Rated C also got bonus. If lower than that, then they'll be given warning and maybe terminated. So, how many teachers are there here? Put up your hand, please. You agree on the bonus? This is it's applied in Singapore. They got bonus. So we can do the same here. How do you value and respect the teachers? Of course, respect needs to be earned. It cannot be demanded. And I believe that a lot of us earned this, but we did not get the respect. Because I always believe that everybody is enthusiastic to contribute, but at the same time, he or she yearns to be respected and to be rewarded and recognized. But these are lacking. So next, please. These are all what happened in the rural school in Sarawak and Sabah, I believe, Sabah. Next, please. Headmasters today. I was a YB before, and a former minister. A lot of those in the rural areas, especially rural schools, primary schools, teachers don't want to be headmasters. Why they don't want to be headmasters? The difference in pay is very, very little, especially in rural areas. They answer me honestly and frankly. Dato, if I don't become headmaster, by 1 o'clock I can go out. 2 o'clock I'll be in my farm. So I can earn double. If I'm a headmaster, holidays also I have to be in the school. So that need to be changed. The same applies to the principals. The difference is very little. Let it be a promotional post up to JUSA C or JUSA B. Okay, next. This one, Sarawak, you see here. SKM, Sekolah Kurang Murid. Anything less than 150 is called SKM. We have so many, and this is one of the reasons why poor results are there in rural school. Very poor. Sometimes an English teacher is forced to teach mathematics. An English teacher is forced to teach science. A Bahasa teacher is forced to teach English. Because there are only 10 students, 15 students, 20 students, and how many teachers? So there's a lot of non-option teachers. And this is one of the reasons why rural schools don't perform. So combined with, we are suggesting combine the small one into big one. Actually, when I was the minister, we did that perfectly and in detail. We called all the YBs to give a briefing to them. They were very, very excited. But when they go back to their respective areas, they were rejected by the parents. Nostalgia and all this. Because the Education Act says, if one parent refuses, you cannot do anything. So this need a political will. Change the law. Change the policies. Like what we did. You know the English one, dual language program. The dual language program, there are 4 requirements. 1, the school must guarantee the standard of Bahasa Malaysia. 2, the school must have the staff and the materials. But the 4th one, every parent must agree. So one parent does not agree, you cannot implement it. So ours is not, actually the name only dual language, actually is PPSMI. PPSMI, that is the teaching of maths and science in English. This is a policy, is not a program that is done in Sarawak. Hopefully Sabah can follow. Actually, Dr. Yusuf wanted to follow. But he said, sorry, Dato', my minister has no money. Because we spend more than 10 million on that. The federal we never pay, the beginning. At one time, I still remember, had a meeting in Putrajaya. I told the KSU and the minister, education is in a federal list. So everything should be paid by federal. You know what did the KSU tell me? Dato', I think that is the case. I think we stop the meeting today. Stop the meeting. So we paid for all this more than 10 million. Combined the schools into bigger with a minimum maybe 300 to 400 students per school. Okay, next. So this will be more competitive. Just go next, please. Next, please. This is the only one. I force it. This is my area before. This is a combined one. So a lot of school will be closed later on and go to this model school. We do recognize the importance of Bahasa Malaysia as a means to unite all the races in Malaysia. And the next one is to provide an identity. That one we do agree. But to prepare our youth to face the challenges of the 21st century, especially in the areas of AI, algorithms, the bots, and the big data, I think English is not a better option only, but is a necessity. Is a necessity. So meaning that what we recommend here is that it should be implemented in English. Some of the key subjects like mathematics, science, IT, and all this should be in English. Okay, next. So now this is Sarawak. We have done it, primary 5 already. And we have international school, all in English. So what is required is the 2 state leaders must have the political will to do what is right. And what is right? Dr. Johan, I think you have to make more books to tell your leaders, do what is right. Depoliticize education. Don't politicize education. Malaysia has been politicizing education since the beginning. So grant autonomy to Sarawak and Sabah on education. So the leaders must stand together, not separately. Stand together Tan Sri Bennett, you have been there before. Stand together with us from Sarawak. Make sure that not, I think what our chief minister used to say, not negotiable with demand. Demand. So, okay, next, no, finish it. I would like to make this presentation with a question to all of you. How can we produce students that are beyond the straitjacket? Not only they be able to compete, we be productive, effective, and capable, but also innovative, creative, street smart, both in Malaysia and outside Malaysia. So how can we make them able to swim in the deep sea without the fear of being eaten by the shark? I say this, ladies and gentlemen, because there are a lot of countries which are doing very, very well in education, academically, but through memorization. So when the students go out, they are not street smart. They are eaten by the shark when they swim in the deep sea. But US is a good example. They are not doing very well academically, but when they go out, they are actually street smart. Israel is another one, because Israel, failure is an option. If there are 10 students given to a professor, and all the 10 students answer right, the questions, all 10 right or 100 rights and so on, the professor will say, I failed to teach my student. I'm a poor professor. But here, the professor will tapok dada. I'm the best professor. So a lot have been done through memorization. And I can give you myself as an example. I was trained together with Jesse Fong in St. Joseph, Kuching here for 7 long years. Who were the teachers? From Ireland, Irish priest, Irish brothers. Who were the science teachers? The Indian from Clara, the Indian. They let us memorize. Yes, we passed with flying colors. But when we went to university, we were beaten by those from Tanjung Lobang. Because the Tanjung Lobang one, the teachers normally give them open-ended questions. So they always think. So we do memorization, did well, but eaten by the shark. Thank you very much.